Forget reality TV, this is world politics at its most dramatic. The stakes are higher, the players are more powerful, and the consequences, well, they're global. If you thought the latest streaming drama was intense, just wait until you see what's happening at the United Nations. This isn't just about two countries arguing, it's about the future of international order, the fate of millions, and the balance of power on the world stage. The US and China just went head-to-head over Ukraine at the UN, and the gloves are off. This isn't your average diplomatic disagreement. This is a full-on, high-stakes confrontation between the world's two biggest superpowers, each determined to shape the narrative and the outcome of the war in Ukraine. The tension in the room was so thick you could practically cut it with a knife. So picture this. The UN Security Council, everyone in their fancy seats, the air buzzing with anticipation. Delegates from every corner of the globe are watching, waiting to see what the US and China will do next. Then boom, the atmosphere shifts. Suddenly it's not just another day at the UN, it's a showdown that could change the course of history. The US calls out China, accusing them of secretly fueling Russia's war in Ukraine. The American ambassador doesn't mince words. She stands up, looks the Chinese delegation straight in the eye, and says in no uncertain terms that China's actions are undermining global peace and security. She points to evidence, intelligence reports, intercepted shipments, and diplomatic cables that suggest China is providing Russia with the technology and components it needs to keep its war machine running. Their message? You can't call for peace if you're selling Russia the parts to make drones. Yikes. The US argues that while China talks about peace and negotiation, its actions tell a different story. They accuse Beijing of playing a double game, publicly calling for an end to the conflict, while quietly enabling Russia to continue its assault on Ukraine. The American delegation lays out its case with a mix of hard data and moral outrage, hoping to rally other nations to their side. China did not take that lying down. The Chinese ambassador, visibly bristling, immediately requests the floor. He stands up, adjusts his microphone, and delivers a forceful rebuttal. The Chinese delegation is clearly prepared for this moment. They've got their talking points, their evidence, and their own narrative ready to go. Their ambassador fired back, basically saying, hey, we didn't start this war and we don't sell weapons. He accuses the US of spreading misinformation and trying to shift the blame for the conflict. According to China, they have always supported peaceful dialogue and diplomatic solutions. They insist that any claims of Chinese support for Russia's military are baseless, politically motivated, and designed to distract from the real issues at hand. They claim they're all about peace while also accusing the US of, quote, pouring fuel on the fire with their own weapons shipments. The Chinese ambassador points out that the US has sent billions of dollars in military aid to Ukraine, including advanced missile systems, tanks, and drones. He argues that if anyone is escalating the conflict, it's Washington, not Beijing. The room grows tense as the two sides trade accusations, each trying to win over the undecided members of the Security Council. The debate quickly spirals into a broader argument about the rules of international order, the meaning of sovereignty, and the responsibilities of great powers. The US accuses China of undermining the very principles the UN was founded to protect, while China accuses the US of hypocrisy and double standards. Meanwhile, the war in Ukraine rages on, with missiles flying, cities burning, and millions of lives hanging in the balance. It's like the world's messiest group project, but with actual missiles and sanctions instead of bad PowerPoint slides. Imagine trying to coordinate a solution when every member of the group has their own agenda, their own interests, and their own vision for how things should play out. The result? Gridlock, frustration, and a growing sense that the international system is struggling to keep up with the challenges of the 21st century. And while these two giants flex at the UN, Ukraine is caught in the middle. Civilians suffer, cities crumble, and the world feels the shockwaves in food and fuel prices. For ordinary Ukrainians, the diplomatic drama in New York is a distant sideshow compared to the daily reality of air raids, blackouts, and uncertainty. The war has devastated Ukraine's infrastructure, displaced millions, and sent ripples through the global economy. Food prices have soared, energy markets are in turmoil, and countries far from the front lines are feeling the impact. Behind the scenes, diplomats from other countries are working overtime to prevent the situation from spiraling out of control. European nations, many of whom depend on both the US and China for trade and security, are walking a diplomatic tightrope. They're urging restraint, calling for dialogue, and trying to keep the focus on humanitarian aid and peace talks. But with the US and China locked in a war of words, Progress is slow, and the risks are high. So are the US and China playing chess, or just throwing diplomatic shade? Some analysts say this is a classic case of great power competition, with each side maneuvering for advantage on the global chessboard. Others argue it's more like a high school drama, with each country trying to score points and embarrass the other in front of the international community. Either way, the stakes couldn't be higher. Drop your thoughts below, and don't forget to subscribe if you love a little global drama. As the world watches this diplomatic showdown unfold, one thing is clear: the outcome will shape not just the future of Ukraine, but the future of international relations for years to come. Will the UN find a way to bridge the divide, or are we witnessing the beginning of a new era of rivalry and confrontation? Only time will tell, but one thing's for sure: this is one story you won't want to miss.